What's up guys, welcome back. Today we're combining two of my absolute favorite comfort foods. I'll be showing you how to make gumbo pot pie. But before we do that, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to hit that bell to enable notifications as well. All right guys, meet me in the kitchen. Let's make it happen. We're getting this party started with the Cajun Trinity, which is onion, celery, and bell pepper. The Cajun Trinity's +1 at this party is the jalapeno pepper. I like to add some jalapeno just for a little bit of spice. But remember guys, it's your party. You can invite who you want, so the jalapeno is optional. Next, we're gonna break out a nice sharp knife and give these veggies a rough chop. You don't have to dice these up because I am gonna put this in a food processor or a blender, and that'll do a much better job of dicing these vegetables than we can with a knife. So just go ahead and give them a rough chop. I like to use a red and a green bell pepper, mostly for color and appearance. You can use whatever you like. And when it comes to the jalapeno, I like to chop the stem off as you see me doing right here. Slice the jalapeno in half and then remove the seeds. Now, depending on your spice tolerance, you may want to leave the seeds in the jalapenos. If you choose to do that, it will be a little bit more spicy, so just keep that in mind. So once we finish prepping the jalapeno, it's time to move on to our yellow onion. We're using 1 onion for this recipe. Give that a rough chop as well. Leave me a comment and let me know what you do to prevent yourself from crying when you're chopping onions, because lately they've been kicking my butt. But that's all right because I'm about to get my revenge right now when I throw them in this blender. So for this step, guys, we're gonna add the veggies to a food processor or a blender and pulse them several times until they're finely diced. The goal here is just to make sure that they're nice and small. Nobody wants big chunks of veggies in their gumbo. So as you can see here, this is about the size that I'm looking for on my veggies for the gumbo. And now, my friends, let's talk about one of the stars of the show, this delicious andouille sausage. This sausage is commonly used in Cajun and Creole cuisine. It has a nice smoky flavor, a little bit of spice as well. And for my folks that don't like pork, you can usually find this in a beef or chicken variety at the grocery store also. So all you want to do here is just chop this sausage up into bite-sized pieces. There's really no right or wrong way to do this, but this is the technique I like to use. Now, once that andouille sausage is prepped and ready, it's time to get to work on our chicken. Now, the easiest and sometimes most cost-effective way to do this is with a rotisserie chicken. And as you can see here, I grabbed this one at the grocery store on sale for just $5. So to break this baddie down, the first thing we're gonna do is remove the wings, set those aside. Those are gonna be our snack. So now that we got snack time planned out, we're gonna take our time here and really break down this chicken. We wanna remove all of the skin, bone, and cartilage, anything that can damage your teeth or that wouldn't be pleasant in the gumbo. Set that stuff aside and discard it, and then we're gonna chop up all the delicious chicken meat that we're gonna add to our gumbo here in a few minutes. As always guys, all the specific measurements and ingredients are provided for you in the description box below, so don't forget to check that out. Now also seems like a perfect time to remind you to please hit that subscribe button and that bell to enable notifications. We have a ton of great recipes on the way for the holidays. So using a nice sharp knife, we're gonna take our time here and make sure that we really break down this chicken into nice bite-sized pieces. There we go. So as you can see, we have all of our ingredients prepped and ready to go. We have our chicken, our sausage, our veggies. Can't forget about the frozen okra, 2 pounds of shrimp. And now, my friends, it's time for the fun part. I'm gonna show you guys how to make a nice dark roux for your gumbo. One of the key ingredients in doing this is a high smoke point cooking oil. I like to use avocado oil because it has a 500-degree smoke point. The higher the smoke point, the less likely it is that your roux is gonna burn. And a roux is essentially just a combination of fat and flour. So for our fat, we have the avocado oil going in with 1.5 cups of that into our Dutch oven over medium-low heat. And then we're also gonna go in with 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. So once we've added in the flour and the oil, we're gonna break out the whisk and mix to combine. This is something that you really gotta babysit and kind of stand over. You don't wanna walk away from a roux. So for about 20 minutes or so, you need to be mixing this pretty much constantly. A roux technically has 3 to 4 different stages. You start with white, then you go blonde, and then you got brown. Some people will describe it as blonde, peanut butter, caramel, and dark chocolate. Whatever works for you. The key here for a gumbo though is you want a nice dark roux, and the only real way to achieve that is time. So here we are mixing away. As you can see, we're entering the blonde phase, and then soon we'll be into the caramel or peanut butter color. And we're just gonna keep on going until we hit that nice dark brown color that's so traditional in gumbo. As you can see, we're getting pretty close right here, but we're gonna keep on mixing. We want it a little bit darker. That right there is the color that you're looking for. That's the perfect color for a gumbo. All in all, it takes about 25 to 30 minutes to get here. It really depends on how high your heat is. The more inexperienced you are, the lower you want your heat to be. Once you got it just right, we're gonna go in with all those veggies that we diced up earlier. Give that a good mix, and then we're going in with our chicken stock. Another quick reminder, guys, all the specific measurements and ingredients are provided for you in the description box below, so don't forget to check that out. So using your spatula, we're just gonna mix in all that chicken stock. I also like to go in with about a half of beer. Make sure you taste as you go. The beer is optional, guys. You can use all chicken stock, but I've gotten in the habit of adding a little beer to my gumbo, because why the hell not? So once you've added that, you want to bring this up to a boil, and then we're going to reduce it down to a simmer. And now it's time to start seasoning this bad boy. We're going in with some Creole or Cajun seasoning. Whatever your favorite brand is will work just fine. We're also going to add a little all-purpose seasoning, which is a blend of salt, pepper, garlic, and onion powder. That is my AP seasoning. If you haven't tried it yet, you can grab yours via the link in the description box. We're also going in with some smoked paprika, some cayenne pepper, just to amplify the spice a little bit. Totally optional. Going in with a couple bay leaves, about a tablespoon or so of worst word in the world sauce. And then we're going in with some Louisiana hot sauce, or whatever your favorite hot sauce is, will do just fine. We're gonna give that a good mix and allow all those flavors to come together and get to know each other's business. We just want to let this simmer away for a while. After about 10 to 15 minutes, we're going to add in that andouille sausage, give that a good mix, allow the sausage to really permeate its flavor throughout the gumbo as well. You want to add that first. Then after a few more minutes, we're going to add in that chicken we chopped up earlier, give that a good mix. And now this bad boy is starting to look like a gumbo. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you plan on making this, we're going to cover this with the lid and allow that to simmer for about 30 minutes. And then we're going to add in that frozen okra towards the end. Okra is optional, guys, but it is fairly traditional in gumbo. If you don't use okra, you can use stewed tomatoes instead. The okra will help thicken it up a little bit. At the very end, we're going to go in with our uncooked shrimp and allow them to cook in that residual heat. Always season to taste. Taste as you go and adjust the flavor to your preference. I'm going in with a little bit more AP seasoning. And at the very end, we're going in with some gumbo filet powder. That's going to help thicken this gumbo up, and it adds a very unique flavor profile, but it is optional. And we're also going in with just a little bit more hot sauce. As always, taste as you go and adjust the flavor to your preference. So now you want to give your gumbo a good mix, and once those shrimp are done, your gumbo is finished as well. You want to go ahead and fish out those bay leaves and get yourself a real quick money shot. Oh man, look at that. That is gumbo, people. We're gonna go ahead and plate this up. If you're a gumbo purist, this is probably where you want to go ahead and cut the video off, because now, my friends, we're gonna make us a gumbo pot pie. First things first, you want to flour your workstation, flour your rolling pin. Now we're going to break out some store-bought pie crust just to keep this nice and easy, because we spent all that time making gumbo. We don't want to make pie crust from scratch. I'll show you guys how to do that in a future recipe. We just want to make sure that everything is adequately floured. That way nothing sticks. Break out the rolling pin and roll out your pie crust until it's about a 1/4 inch thick. We're going to do this for 2 separate pie crusts. Flip it over and roll the other side, and once we have it right where we want it, we're going to go ahead and add it to our pie dish. So what you want to do is drape this over the pie dish and kind of form fit it to the dish using your fingers. Next, you want to break out some kitchen scissors and cut any excess dough that might be hanging off the edges. A little bit of hang time is not terrible, but you don't want too much. You also want to make sure that your gumbo has had time to come up to room temperature. You don't want to add it to the dough when it's piping hot, because the dough will break, and that's not what we're going for here. I saw this recipe on Twitter a while back. It went viral, but after doing some research, it looks like this has been around for a long time, so I'm not quite sure who was the first person to do a gumbo pot pie, but I see recipes online as old as like 6 or 7 years, so shout outs to whoever came up with this. Super delicious. I hope you guys give it a try. So now we're going to add that top layer of the pie dough right on top, and do the same thing with your kitchen scissors as before. Go around the edges and cut off any excess that might be hanging over your pie dish. And now, super important, you want to take the top layer and fold it behind the bottom layer of dough to really create a seal. Now you want to go around the entire pie and repeat that same process to make sure that it's nice and sealed. That way no gumbo leaks out. If you want to get real fancy, you can go around the edges like you see me doing right here and put your finger behind the dough and use 2 of your other fingers to kind of pinch around it like you see right here. I'll be the first to tell you I didn't do so well in arts and crafts, but you do want to go ahead and make a couple slits in the middle of the pot pie. That'll ensure that some steam can release. I don't know what design I was going for here, but it was a massive fail. Go ahead and make fun of me in the comments. Next, you want to whisk 1 egg in a mixing bowl and grab a pastry brush. We're going to brush this egg wash on top of the pot pie crust. That's going to help it get nice and golden brown when we bake it in the oven. Speaking of the oven, you want to go ahead and preheat that oven to 425 degrees. You really want to make sure that you brush all the edges and the top of that pie crust really evenly with that egg wash. That way you get a nice even golden brown color. There we go. And another quick pro tip is to take this whole pie dish and place it on a baking sheet with some aluminum foil. That way, if you do have any spillover, it doesn't end up burning at the bottom of your oven. I'm going to take that and pop that in the 425-degree oven for about 15 to 18 minutes or until it's golden brown like you see right here. Say it with me, guys, looking good. Break out the knife and we're going to slice us up a piece of this gumbo pot pie. Plate it up, get you guys a couple trademark money shots, and you know I got to go in for the taste test. Oh man, look at that. You can see the steam coming off of there. A nice deep, rich, dark colored roux for our gumbo. We're gonna plate this up with some diced chive for a pop of color. And then all I need is a spoon, a fork. Hell, I'd eat this with my hands. All right, guys, moment of truth. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you make this, please tag me on Instagram or Twitter. I would love to see you guys recreate this one. That is on the money. Definitely a spoon drop or a fork drop, whatever you want to call it. That's my recipe for gumbo pot pie. Make sure you give your boy a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button and the bell to enable notifications. And as always, thank you for your support.